Hello, welcome back to AJM Learn. Today I'm going to show you how to create this liquid glass morphism effect in Squarespace. Not a really great native way to do it, so I started playing around with features and think I figured out something good. So let's get into it. All right, this is kind of the look I'm going for. I'm going to show you how to recreate it, and we'll add another effect to it to make it even blurrier. So let me just add a new section, and we'll start from blank. Okay. First, let me add this background back in. I just found a random stock image I thought would look good for the example. So let's do that. You can do this with a solid background, like a pattern, whatever you think. Let's get this set up correctly. And, obviously this is however you want to set up. Okay, next, go ahead and add a shape block. So I'm just going to do it exactly like I did below. You can, of course, do this however you want, wherever on the page. You're going to go in and edit your shape block. I like to have a bit of a corner radius, totally up to you based on your brand. And then down here on color, you want to keep it white and then bring the opacity down. I usually just eyeball this based on the background color, but if you come over here, it's typically somewhere in I don't know, 15 to 20% range is where I end up, totally depending on the background. Next, I want to add a stroke. Let's make that white. And let's make it only 1 pixel. And we're going to make it not fully white as well. Again, I kind of eyeballed this, but I like to make it slightly darker than the background, but kind of that look to give it a little bit of an edge. You can play around with that based on the look you're going for. So we're already kind of getting a cool look. The next thing I want to show is these elements. So when you see this effect, you see a lot of these blurred elements behind. So I wanted to figure out how to do that with shape blocks. And I have a couple options here. So first, go ahead and add your shape. I'm going to do this with circles. I think it's the most applicable. So I'm going to turn off the stretch. Let's choose a color. I'll just do it kind of similar to what I did below. Doesn't matter that much. This is a problem with demos as I get caught up in the details. All right. I'm going to copy that hex code. Actually, I don't really need to do that because I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, place it wherever you want. Again, it would ideally be going behind the liquid glass a bit, and I'm going to duplicate it. With the duplicated one, I'm going to go into the settings, and I'm going to turn on blur. And you can adjust this however you want. I think I have mine below set at about 8 pixels. Now, here is where the difference comes in. If you are a Circle, Gold, or Platinum member, this is all in the details of the post, but you can go into your settings and go into those Circle Lab options and toggle this on, and you can actually get these transforms. So essentially, if you are Gold or Platinum, you can access these transformations now, in which case you can offset this. So, okay, I always have to play around with which way. So I'm going to set this to that, and then I'm going to send them behind. So you're getting a bit of that look. So essentially what's happening is there's no way to make this look this blurred. So you really have to kind of use that second shape, offset it so that it blurs behind. Now, check out the post. If you are not a Gold or Platinum member, totally no big deal. Let me remove this offset, and you can do that with CSS. So I'll show you how to do that. So if you need to move it with CSS, this is all in the post, so you can just copy and paste. And you need to grab that block ID. I always use the Squarespace ID Finder Chrome extension. And this, you can essentially do the exact same thing that I just showed you, and you can play around with the values here. So you're not stuck if you don't have access to that new feature, no big deal. Okay, I'm going to come back in here and put it back in place just so we can get the full effect. All right, cool. So that looks pretty good. And I'm going to duplicate all of that. Maybe do something like this. Maybe this one's a bit smaller, and change the color. So let's do this one, maybe more red. I'm going to copy that color. I know I'm moving a bit quick. I'm basically just trying to make these colors different for both. The layers do get a little confusing. Okay, so now I want to grab the one that's blurred and I need to change the offset to be basically the opposite so that the blurred part is going more behind the glass. So you can see we have, the colors are a little different, of course. I think my original one looks better, but we have generally the same type of idea here. Now, this already looks pretty cool, but we're not getting that blurred effect that is, what we're really looking for when we do this liquid glass. And we have to do that with CSS. I have not found another way. If you're thinking, Amanda, there's the blur option for the shape, we just used it. Unfortunately, like if I were to blur this background, it's just blurring the edges, which you can't really see, but it's not giving the effect we want. It's not actually blurring the content behind the block. So I'm going to paste this in from the post. Again, you're going to need to grab the block ID of the liquid glass, and that is going to give you a blur effect. Okay, I figured out the problem. So this is actually really important. You want to make sure, I realize the CSS will not work if you have blur toggled on, even though it doesn't help us here. Make sure it is toggled off or the CSS won't work on your liquid glass. So toggle that off, and then I'll paste this back in. I've already found the block ID. Now it's working better. And you can adjust the blur however you want. But yeah, gives us more of that blur effect. And then you can, of course, like make any adjustments to the rest of the stuff we did from here.